Dear viewers, my today's lecture is in continuation to my previous lecture on Laplace transformation, wherein we studied the existence theorem for the Laplace transforms and some of its properties. We will continue that discussion with some more properties of the Laplace transforms. Let us first discuss the Laplace transform of derivative of a function. Now, the theorem 1 tells us that when we take the Laplace transform of the derivative of a function, what we get is the Laplace transform of the function multiplied by s, that is s into L f t minus f 0. So, this means that when the Laplace transform acts on the derivative of a function, you get the function transform of the function multiplied by s. That means, the operations of calculus by acting on, when we act by the Laplace transform on the operations of a calculus, what we get is the algebraic operations on the transforms of the function, Laplace transforms of the function. So, the operations of calculus are transformed into the algebraic operations on the transforms using the Laplace transformation. So, theorem 1 tells us that suppose f t is continuous function for all t greater than or equal to 0 and is of exponential order gamma on the interval 0 infinity. Let us recall the definition of exponential order gamma. We say that the function f t is exponential order gamma, provided we can find constant m greater than 0 such that mod of f t is less than or equal to m times e to the power gamma t for all t greater than or equal to some t naught. So, further let f dash t be piecewise continuous on the interval 0 infinity, then the Laplace transform of f dash t exists and we have L of f dash t equal to s times L f t minus f 0 for all s greater than gamma. Let us prove this theorem. We first will prove this theorem for the case when f dash t is a continuous function on the interval 0 infinity. Let us recall that every piecewise continuous function need not be continuous, while a continuous function is always piecewise continuous. So, let us assume let us first discuss the proof of the theorem for the case when f dash t is continuous on 0 infinity. Then the Laplace transform of f dash t, which is equal to, by definition of Laplace transform, integral 0 to infinity e to the power minus s t into f dash t dt is equal to, when we integrate by parts, it will be equal to e to the power minus s t into f t evaluated at 0 and infinity plus s times integral 0 to infinity e to the power minus s t into f t dt. Now, since we have assumed that f t is of exponential order gamma, so mod of f t is less than or equal to m times e to the power gamma t for large values of t, and therefore, as t goes to infinity, e to the power minus s t into f t will tend to 0 as t goes to infinity, because f t, mod of f t is less than or equal to m times e to power gamma t. So, mod of e to power minus s t into f t will be less than or equal to m times e to the power minus s minus gamma into t. So, when s will be greater than gamma and t will tend to infinity, this quantity will tend to 0, and at the lower limit its value is f 0. So, we get minus f 0 here plus s times, and this is nothing but the Laplace transform of the function f t. So, we get L of f dash t equal to s L f t minus f 0. So, this proves the theorem for the case when f dash t is continuous on the interval 0 infinity. Now, if f dash t is just piecewise continuous on the interval 0 infinity, then what we do is we break the interval 0 infinity into finitely many parts, say 0 a 1, a 1 a 2, a 2 a 3, a n minus 1 a n, and a n infinity such that f dash t is continuous on each part. Then by definition L of f dash t is integral 0 to infinity e to the power minus s t f dash t dt. It can be broken up into these n plus 1 integrals, integral 0 to a 1 e to the power minus s t f dash t dt plus a 1 to a 2 e to the power minus s t f dash t dt, and so on a n minus 1 a n e to the power minus s t f dash t dt plus a n integral over a n to infinity e to the power minus s t f dash t dt. Now, let us integrate each integral, let us evaluate each integral by integrating by parts. Then the first integral on the right gives e to the power minus s t f t 0 a 1 plus s times integral 0 to a 1 e to the power minus s t f t dt, plus second integral on the right gives e to the power minus s t f t a 1 a 2 plus s times a 1 to a 2 e to the power minus s t f t dt, and so on. The nth integral gives e to the power minus s t f t n minus 1 n plus s times integral over n minus 1 to n e to the power minus s t f t dt, and the last integral gives on integration by parts e to the power minus s t f t n to infinity, and then plus s times integral over n to infinity e to the power minus s t f t dt. And hence L of f dash t is equal to e to the power minus s a 1 into f a 1 minus f 0 plus s times integral over 0 to a 1 e to the power minus s t into f t dt, plus e to the power minus s a 2 f a 2 minus e to the power minus s a 1 into f a 1 plus s times integral over a 1 to a 2 e to the power minus s t into f t dt, plus and so on e to the power minus s a n into f a n minus e to the power minus s a n minus 1 into f a n minus 1 plus s times integral over n minus 1 to n e to the power minus s t into f t dt, and then we get the last integral is equal to 0 minus e to the power minus s n f n plus s times integral over n to infinity e to the power minus s t into f t dt. This 0 comes when we take the limit of e to the power minus s t into f t as t goes to infinity, because f t is of exponential order. And then these terms will all cancel out, e to the power minus s a 1 f a 1 will cancel with this, e to the power minus s a 2 f a 2 will cancel with the next term coming in the next term, and then e to the power minus s n f n will also cancel with this. So, ultimately on simplification the right hand side becomes minus f 0 plus s times integral over 0 to infinity e to the power minus s t into f t dt, because integral over 0 to a 1, integral over a 1 to a 2, integral over n minus 1 to n, and integral over n to infinity can be combined together, and we get the integral 0 to infinity e to the power minus s t into f t dt. So, we get this further equal to minus f 0 plus s times Laplace transform of f t, and thus in the case when f dash t is just piecewise continuous, again we get the Laplace transform of f dash t as s times Laplace transform of the function f t minus f 0 whenever s is greater than gamma. Now, let us study an extension of theorem 1. Suppose that the function f t is not continuous, that it has a discontinuity at the point t equal to a, and the discontinuity is the ordinary discontinuity. So, let us assume that the function f t is continuous for all t greater than or equal to 0 except for an ordinary discontinuity. Ordinary discontinuity means when t tends to a minus 0, that is t tends to a from the left side or t tends to a from the right side, the function f t tends to a finite limit. So, it has got finite jumps on either side of t equal to a, and all the other conditions of the theorem 1 remain the same. Then the Laplace transform of f dash t is equal to s times Laplace transform of f t minus f 0 minus f of a plus 0, which is the right hand limit of f t as t tends to a, minus f of a minus 0, which is the right hand limit of left hand limit of f t as t tends to a into e to the power minus a s. Let us prove this result. By definition we may write Laplace transform of f dash t as integral 0 to infinity e to the power minus s t into f dash t dt. Now, let us break this integral on the right side into two parts, integral over 0 to a e to the power minus s t into f dash t dt, and the other integral over a to infinity e to the power minus s t into f dash t dt, and then we integrate by parts. So, then the first integral on the right gives e to the power minus s t into f t evaluated at 0 and a plus s times integral over 0 to a e to the power minus s t into f t dt. The second integral on integration by part gives e to the power minus s t into f t evaluated at 0 a and infinity plus s times integral over a to infinity e to the power minus s t into f t dt. So, when t tends to a here, then t will tend to a from the left side. So, e to the power minus s t into f t will tend to e to the power minus s a into f a minus 0. F a minus 0 is the limit of f t as t tends to a from the left, and then minus f 0, minus f 0 we get after we put the lower limit here t equal to 0, and then plus s times integral 0 to a e to the power minus s t into f t dt, and here when t tends to infinity e to the power minus s t into f t goes to 0 because f t is of exponential order, and when we try to put the lower limit t will tend to a and it will tend to a from the right because the interval is from a to infinity. So, when t tends to a from the right e to the power minus s t into f t will tend to e to the power minus s a into f of a plus 0, f of a plus 0 is the right hand limit of f t as t tends to a, plus s times integral over a to infinity e to the power minus s t into f t dt, and when we combine these two integrals we get integral over 0 to infinity e to the power minus s t into f t dt. So, on simplification this right hand side of the equation gives minus f 0 plus e to the power minus s a into f a minus 0 minus f plus s times integral 0 to infinity e to the power minus s t into f t dt, which is same as L of f dash equal to s into L f s L f minus f 0 minus f of a plus 0 minus f of a minus 0 into e to the power minus s, which proves the required result. Now, let us use the induction process on theorem 1. So, on using induction we have the following result. Let f t, f dash t and so on f n minus 1 t be continuous functions for all t greater than or equal to 0 and be of exponential order for some gamma and m. Further, let the nth derivative of f t be piecewise continuous on every finite interval in the range t greater than or equal to 0, that is the interval 0 infinity. Then the Laplace transform of nth derivative of f t, that is f n t, is equal to s to the power n into L f t minus s to the power n minus 1 into f 0 minus s to the power n minus 2 into f dash 0 and so on minus f n minus 1 0 for all s greater than gamma. Now, this theorem is easy to prove by induction on n. For n equal to 1 it holds by theorem 1, and assuming it for n minus 1 we can easily show it for n by induction. Now, let us take an example on based on the Laplace transform of the derivative of a function. Let us find the Laplace transform of the Bessel function of order 1, that is j 1. We know that by the properties of Bessel functions of first kind, we know that we know that the derivative of j naught x is equal to minus j 1 x. So, if we want to find the Laplace transform of j 1 x, we can write by using the linearity of the operator L, Laplace transform of j 1 x equal to minus L of j dash x, and which will be equal to minus L of j naught x minus j naught at evaluated at 0 using the theorem 1. So, this is equal to minus s times Laplace transform of j naught x is equal to 1 over square root s square plus 1, which we had shown in our previous lecture on the Laplace transformation. So, s times 1 over square root s square plus 1 minus j naught x. If you put x equal to 0 in the series expansion of j naught x, then you get the value of j naught 0 as 1. So, we get the Laplace transform of j 1 x as 1 minus s over square root of s square plus 1. Let us now take another example. Let us say f t is equal to sin square t. We want to find the Laplace transform of f t, and we cannot find this Laplace transform of f t by directly from the known results on the Laplace transforms, Laplace transform of elementary functions, which we had studied in the previous lecture on Laplace transformation, but we can do it either by writing sin square t as 1 minus cos 2 t by 2 and using the linearity property of L and the Laplace transform of cos 2 t. We can also find the Laplace transform of f t equal to sin square t using theorem 1 as we are going to see now. So, f 0 is equal to 0, f dash t is equal to 2 sin t cos t, that is it is equal to sin 2 t, and we can see that f t is a continuous function for all t greater than or equal to 0. F t is of exponential order because f t is a bounded function, and then its derivative f dash t is sin 2 t, which is also a continuous function for all t greater than or equal to 0. So, we can apply theorem 1, and by theorem 1 then Laplace transform of f dash t. Now Laplace transform of f dash t we can directly write using the known results. We know that Laplace transform of sin a t is a upon s square plus a square. So, Laplace transform of f dash t will be equal to 2 over s square plus 4. Now, Laplace transform of f dash t is equal to s into Laplace transform of f t minus f 0, but f 0 is 0. So, L f dash t becomes s into L f t, which is equal to 2 over s square plus 4. Dividing by s we get Laplace transform of the function f t, that is Laplace transform of sin square t as 2 over s into s square plus 4. So, by using theorem 1 we can find the Laplace transform of f t equal to sin square t. Let us now study how we can find the solution of a differential equation with the given initial conditions. The conditions are y 0 equal to 1 and y dash 0 equal to minus 1. The differential equation is y double dash minus 3 y dash plus 2 y equal to 4 t into e to plus e to the power 3 t. Now, we will take the Laplace transform of the given differential equation on both sides. When we take the Laplace transform of y double dash, what we get is s square y s minus s by 0 minus y dash 0 using the theorem 2, and then minus 3 times Laplace transform of y dash will become s into y s minus y 0 plus 2 times Laplace transform of y will become y s, and this is equal to 4 times Laplace transform of t, that is 1 by s square, plus Laplace transform of e to the power 3 t, that is 1 over s minus 3. So, we are making use of theorem 2 here and the linearity property of the Laplace operator, where we are assuming that L of y t, that is Laplace transform of y t, is equal to y s. Now, let us use the given initial conditions, that is y 0 equal to 1 and the initial condition for y dash 0. We will get that y s after simplification, the value of y s comes out to be equal to s to the power 4 minus 7 s cube plus 13 s square plus 4 s minus 12 over s square into s minus 1, s minus 2, s minus 3, which is a rational function of s and is a proper fraction. So, we can break it into its partial fractions, and after breaking it into partial fractions we get that y s becomes equal to 3 over s plus 2 over s square minus 1 over 2 into s minus 1 minus 2 over s minus 2 plus 1 over 2 times s minus 3. Now, in order to find the desired function y t, we will take the inverse Laplace transform on both sides of the last equation. So, we get inverse Laplace transform of y s equal to y t is equal to then 3 plus 2 t minus half e to the power t minus 2 times e to the power 2 t plus 1 by 2 e to the power 3 t, which is the required solution of the given initial value problem. Now, let us study next the theorem which is based on the Laplace transform of integral of a function, and we see that it again transforms into an algebraic operation. Laplace transform of f t is divided by s. So, let f t be a piecewise continuous function on the interval 0 infinity and be of exponential order for some gamma and m on the interval 0 infinity. Then the Laplace transform of integral 0 to t f tau d tau is equal to 1 by s Laplace transform of f t whenever s is greater than 0 and s is greater than gamma. So, by our hypothesis that is f t is of exponential order for some gamma n m on 0 infinity, and that f t is piecewise continuous function on the interval 0 infinity. It follows that mod of f t is less than or equal to some constant m into e to the power gamma t for all t greater than or equal to 0. This m may not be the same as the m here in the theorem. Now, we can assume here that gamma is greater than 0, because if the equation 1, that is mod of f t is less than or equal to m times e to the power gamma t, holds for some negative gamma, then clearly it also holds for a positive gamma, and hence gamma can be assumed to be positive. Now, then the integral 0 g t equal to integral 0 to t f tau d tau, it is a continuous function on the interval 0 infinity, and mod of g t is less than or equal to integral 0 to t f tau d tau less than or equal to m times integral 0 to t e to the power gamma t into d tau, e to power gamma tau into d tau, and when we integrate e to power gamma tau and put the limits, we get the right hand, we get this value of the integral as e to power gamma tau t e to power gamma t minus 1 over gamma, where gamma is positive. Further, we find that g t is equal to integral 0 to t f tau d tau gives g dash t equal to f t, except for those points where the function f t is discontinuous. Hence, g dash t is a piecewise continuous function on each finite interval, and thus we get L of f t, L of f t equal to L of g dash t, and L of g dash t is equal to s times L of g t minus g 0 by the theorem 1. So, this will give us, since g 0 is equal to 0, it follows that L of g t is equal to L of f t over s, or we may say L of integral 0 to t f tau d tau is equal to L of f t over s, which completes the proof of the theorem. Consequently, L inverse of f s over s, L of f t is equal to f s. So, L inverse of f s over s is equal to integral 0 to t f tau d tau, that is the inverse Laplace transform of f s over s gives integral over 0 to t f tau d tau. Now, let us apply this theorem to find the inverse Laplace transform of 1 over s square into s square plus a square. We know that the inverse Laplace transform of 1 over s square plus a square is sin a t over a. So, by the previous theorem, that is theorem 3, we have inverse Laplace transform of f s over s, f s we take as 1 over s square plus a square. So, L inverse of f s over s, that is 1 over s into s square plus a square, will be equal to integral of sin a tau over a d tau, integral over 0 to t sin a tau over a d tau, and when we evaluate the integral and substitute the limit, the right hand side becomes 1 by a square into minus cos a tau evaluated at 0 and t. So, this is equal to 1 by a square 1 minus cos a t. Now, we again apply theorem 3 to the function f s equal to 1 over s into s square plus a square. So, then L inverse of f s over s, that is 1 over s square into s square plus a square, will be equal to 1 by a square integral 0 to t 1 minus cos a tau d tau. And when we integrate 1 minus cos a tau with respect to tau, what we get is tau minus sin a tau over a, and the when we evaluate it at 0 and t and substitute and multiply by 1 by a square, we get 1 by a square into t minus sin a t over a. So, this theorem helps us in finding the inverse Laplace transforms of many functions, many new functions, once the Laplace transforms of some other functions are known. Now, let us study differentiation and integration of transforms. So, first theorem on differentiation of Laplace transform is the following: let f t be piecewise continuous on the interval 0 infinity and be of exponential order alpha, then L of t f t is equal to minus f dash s, whenever s is greater than alpha. So, this theorem tells us that whenever we differentiate the Laplace transform of a certain function f t with respect to s, then the function f t gets multiplied by t, that is Laplace transform of t f t becomes minus whenever we differentiate the Laplace transform of a function f t, the original function f t gets multiplied by minus t. So, we get L of f t equal to minus f dash s whenever s is greater than alpha. F s here, as we know already, is L of f t. Let us prove this theorem. We can write f dash s equal to d over ds of f s, that is d over ds of integral 0 to infinity e to power minus s t into f t dt. So, d over ds can be brought inside the integral 0 to infinity d over ds of e to power minus s t into f t dt, because s and t are independent of each other, and this will be equal to, when we differentiate with respect to s. So, this will be equal to e to power minus s t into minus t. Okay. So, minus t, this minus comes outside the integral and t we combine with the function f t, and then this is nothing but minus Laplace transform of t f t. So, minus L of t f t, hence L of t f t is equal to minus f dash s. Now, again we can use induction on n and can show that Laplace transform of t to the power n into f t is equal to minus 1 to the power n into f n s. When you take n equal to 1 here, then the result follows from this theorem, that L of t f t equal to minus f dash s. So, assuming that the result holds for n, we can easily show it for n plus 1. Now, this property of the Laplace transforms enables us to obtain new transforms from the given ones, that is, if we know a certain Laplace transform, say f s, by differentiating it we can get new transforms, that is we can get the transforms, new transforms f dash s, f double dash s. We just have to multiply f t by minus 1 into t to the power n. So, let us take an example on this theorem. Let us evaluate the integral of integral 0 to infinity t e to the power minus 3 t into sin t dt. If we identify this integral with the definition of the Laplace transform, then we note that integral 0 to infinity t into e to the power minus s t sin t dt, this is nothing but the Laplace transform of t sin t, because e to power minus s t into t sin t, and then the integral 0 to infinity. So, this is Laplace transform of t sin t, and Laplace transform of t sin t by the previous theorem on differentiation of Laplace transforms is minus d over ds of Laplace transform of f t equal to sin t, and Laplace transform sin t we know it is 1 over s square plus 1. So, when we differentiate it with respect to s and multiply by minus 1, we get 2 s over s square plus 1 whole square. So, now let us put, we want the value of this integral. So, let us put s equal to 3 here in order to get the value of the desired integral. So, putting s equal to 3 here, what we get is integral 0 to infinity t e to the power minus 3 t sin t dt equal to 2 into 3 over 3 square plus 1 whole square, which is equal to 3 over 50. So, they are orthogonal trajectories of each other. Likewise, let us study example based on the last theorem. Let us evaluate the Laplace transform of t into sin square 3 t. Let us first note that the Laplace transform of sin square 3 t is same as Laplace transform of 1 minus cos 60 by 2, and using the linearity property of the Laplace operator L, we can write it as half of Laplace transform of 1, which is 1 by s, minus Laplace transform of cos 60, which is s over s square plus 36. So, when we simplify this, we get the right hand side equal to 18 over s into s square plus 36. And now, if we apply the theorem on derivative of differentiation of Laplace transforms, then we get the Laplace transform of t into sin square 3 t equal to minus of d over ds of 18 over s times s square plus 36, which is equal to minus 18 into minus 1 s cube plus 36 s raised to the power minus 2 into 3 s square plus 36. Simplification, this becomes 54 into s square plus 12 over s square into s square plus 36 whole square. Now, let us evaluate the Laplace transform of t to the power 3 into e to the power minus 3 t. We know that Laplace transform of e to the power minus 3 t is 1 over s plus 3, and therefore, by using the last theorem we get the Laplace transform of t to the power 3 into e to the power minus 3 t as minus 1 to the power 3 into d q over d s cube 1 over s plus 3, which is equal to 3 factorial over s plus 3 raised to the power 4, and which is equal to 6 over s plus 3 raised to the power 4. Now, let us solve a differential equation of second order. Let us consider the differential equation t y double dash plus 1 minus 2 t into y dash minus 2 y equal to 0 with the given initial conditions as y 0 equal to 1 and y dash 0 equal to 2. Let us denote the Laplace transform of y t y bar s, and then when we take the Laplace transform of the given differential equation, we will get Laplace transform of t y double dash plus Laplace transform of 1 minus 2 t into y dash minus 2 times Laplace transform of y equal to Laplace transform of 0, which is equal to 0. This follows using the linearity of the operator L. Or now, Laplace transform of t y double dash is equal to minus 1 into d over ds of Laplace transform of y double dash by the previous theorem. So, we get Laplace transform y double dash as s square into y bar s minus s by 0 minus y dash 0 plus Laplace transform of y dash. We are using linearity here, linearity property of the operator L. So, first we write the Laplace transform of y dash here, which is s by bar s minus by 0. Then we have minus 2 times Laplace transform of t y dash, and Laplace transform of t y dash is minus 1 into d over ds of Laplace transform of y dash, which is s by bar s minus by 0. So, Laplace transform of minus 2 t by dash becomes plus 2 times d over ds of s by bar minus by 0 minus 2 times Laplace transform of y is by bar. So, we get minus 2 y bar s equal to 0, and on simplification what we get is dy bar over ds multiplied by s square minus 2 s equal to minus s by using the initial conditions. So, we can now separate the variables by bar and s, and we get dy bar over by bar equal to minus ds over s. Now, on integration what we get is ln by bar equal to minus ln s minus 2 plus ln a, which gives us by bar equal to a over s minus 2. And now, if we take the inverse Laplace transform of this equation, we will get inverse Laplace transform of by bar as by t, and the right side will be using linearity property a times inverse Laplace transform of 1 over s minus 2, which will be e to the power 2 t. So, by becomes equal to a times e to the power 2 t. Now, let us make use of the initial condition, that is by 0 is equal to 1, the value of a turns out to be equal to 1, and we get the solution of the given differential equation as by equal to e to the power 2 t. Next, we find the inverse Laplace transform of s over s plus 1 whole square into s square plus 1. So, let us denote by f s s over s plus 1 whole square into s square plus 1. When we break f s into its partial fractions, f s is being taken as s over s plus 1 whole square into s square plus 1 here. So, when we break f s into its partial fractions, we write it as a over s plus 1 plus b over s plus 1 whole square plus c s plus d over s square plus 1. And when we take the LCM here and then use the f s equal to s over s plus 1 whole square into s square plus 1 and evaluate the values of the constants a, b, c, d, what we get is a is equal to 0, b equal to minus half, c equal to 0 and d equal to half, and hence the value of f s is equal to, after breaking f s into its partial fractions, we get f s as 1 over 2 into s square plus 1 minus 1 over 2 into s plus 1 whole square. So, now let us take inverse Laplace transform of f s. In L inverse of f s is equal to then half of L inverse of 1 over s square plus 1, which is sin t, minus half of L inverse of 1 over s plus 1 whole square. Now, we know that inverse Laplace transform of 1 over s plus 1 is e to the power minus t. So, when we differentiate 1 over s plus 1 with respect to s, that is d over ds of 1 over s plus 1 becomes minus 1 over s plus 1 whole square, and that is the inverse Laplace transform of that is equal to t into e to the power minus t. Inverse Laplace transform of 1 over s plus 1 whole square is t into e to the power minus t by the previous theorem. So, we get the inverse Laplace transform of the desired function of s as half sin t minus half t into e to the power minus t. Now, let us find the inverse Laplace transform of the logarithmic function ln 1 plus a square by s square. What we will do is, we will first take the derivative of ln of 1 plus a square by s square with respect to s. So, we see that d over ds of ln 1 plus a square by s square is 1 over 1 plus a square by s square into minus 2 a square by s cube, which on simplification gives us minus 2 a square over s into s square plus a square. When we break it into its partial fractions, what we get is minus 2 times 1 over s minus s over s square plus a square. So, if we now take the inverse Laplace transform on both sides of this equation, we will get L inverse of d over ds of ln 1 plus a square by a square equal to minus 2 times L inverse of 1 by s as 1 minus L inverse of s over s square plus a square as cos a t. So, we get L inverse of d over ds of ln 1 plus a square by s square as minus 2 times 1 minus cos a t, and L inverse of d over ds of f s, we know L inverse of d over ds of f s is minus t times f t. So, we get L inverse of d over ds of ln 1 plus a square by s square as minus t times L inverse of f s. This is minus t times f t. So, minus t times L inverse of ln 1 plus a square by s square. So, what we get is minus t times L inverse ln 1 plus a square by s square equal to minus 2 times 1 minus cos a t. So, this implies that L inverse of ln 1 plus a square by s square is equal to 2 times 1 minus cos a t over t. Now, let us study what happens when we integrate the Laplace transform of a given function. We see in this theorem that when we integrate the Laplace transform of a given function f t, let us denote the Laplace transform of f t by f u, then what we get is that the function f t is divided by t. We get the Laplace transform of f t by t equal to integral s to infinity f u du. So, this theorem tells us that if f t satisfies the conditions of the existence theorem, and moreover limit of f t over t as t goes to 0 from the right exists, then we have Laplace transform of f t over t equal to integral over s to infinity f u du, where u is greater than gamma and L f t is equal to f u. So, let us see what is the value of integral s to infinity f u du. Integral s to infinity f u du, when we put the value of f u here, becomes integral s to infinity integral 0 to infinity e to the power minus u t into f t dt du, and which is equal to integral 0 to infinity integral, we change the order of integration here. So, integral 0 to infinity integral s to infinity e to the power minus e to u t du into f t dt, which is equal to integral 0 to infinity integral of e to power minus u t is e to power minus u t over minus t, because we are integrating here with respect to u, and the limits are s and infinity into f t dt. Now, when t goes to infinity, because u is greater than gamma, and gamma in the existence theorem can be taken to be positive. So, e to the power minus u t goes to 0 as t goes to infinity, and when we put the lower limit, the value of this expression becomes e to the power minus s t over t, and so we get the right hand side as integral 0 to infinity e to the power minus s t over t into f t dt, which can be written in the form of the Laplace transform of f t over t, that is integral 0 to infinity e to the power minus s t into f t over t dt. So, we get the right hand side this equal to L of f t over t. Let us take an example based on this theorem. Let us find the Laplace transform of sine hyperbolic a t over t. We know from our previous lecture on Laplace transformation that Laplace transform of sine hyperbolic a t is a over s square minus a square. Therefore, in view of the above theorem, Laplace transform of sine hyperbolic a t over t will be equal to integral s to infinity Laplace transform of sine hyperbolic a t, which is a over u square minus a square. So, we integrate a over u square minus a square with respect to u and substitute the limits s n infinity to get the desired Laplace transform. So, when we integrate in order to integrate this, we break it into its partial fractions, and the partial fractions are half of 1 by u minus a minus 1 by u plus a. When we integrate this with respect to u, what we will get, half times ln u minus a minus ln of u plus a, and the limits of integration are s n infinity. So, when we would like to use the upper limit, that is u goes to infinity, ln u minus a minus ln u plus a will tend to infinity minus infinity. So, we write it in the form of ln of u minus a over u plus a, and dividing by u, then it can be written as ln of 1 minus a by u over 1 plus a by u. So, when u will tend to infinity, it will tend to ln 1, which will go to 0. So, this expression after integration as u goes to infinity will tend to 0, and when we put the lower limit, the value of this integral will come out to be half of ln s plus a over s minus a, whenever s is greater than mod of a. The condition that s is greater than mod of a comes from here, because ln s plus a exists when s is greater than minus a, and ln s minus a exists when s is greater than a. So, s must be greater than mod of a. Now, we study a very important property of the Laplace transforms, which is known as the convolution theorem. If we know the Laplace transform of two functions f t and g t, we can find the Laplace transform. When one wants to know what is the function whose Laplace transform gives us the product of the Laplace transform of f t and g t. It will turn out that that function, if we call that function as h t, is nothing but the convolution of f t and g t, and the convolution of f t and g t, which we will denote by f star g at t, is defined as integral 0 to t f tau g t minus tau d tau. This theorem is extensively used in the study on integral equations and many other problems of engineering. So, it has lots of applications. So, let us assume that L of f t is f s, L of g t is g s, and f t and g t satisfy the conditions of the existence theorem. Then we see that f s into g s, the product of the Laplace transform of f t and g t, is nothing but the Laplace transform of the convolution of f and g, that is f star g t, and f star g t is by definition integral 0 to t f tau g t minus tau d tau. This f star g is said to be convolution of f t and g t. Let us look at the proof of this theorem. L of f star g at t will be equal to integral 0 to infinity e to power minus s t into f star g at t, and f star g at t by definition is integral 0 to t f tau g t minus tau d tau and then d t. So, now we want to change the order of integration here. The inner integral is with respect to tau, the outer integral is with respect to t. So, let us look at t tau plane. This is our real, this horizontal axis is t axis, vertical axis is tau axis, and this is the line t equal to tau. So, here we are integrating first with respect to tau and then with respect to t. Tau varies from 0 to t. So, that means we are taking a, and the region over which we are integrating is this one. So, when we are integrating first with respect to tau and tau varies from 0 to t, it means that we are taking a vertical strip over this region. So, because for this vertical strip tau varies from 0 to tau equal to t and t varies from 0 to infinity in this part of the plane. So, when we want to change the limits of integration, the order of integration, then now we will have to take a horizontal strip here. So, this we take a horizontal strip, arbitrary horizontal strip in this area, and then the limits of integration for t. First we shall write the limits of integration for t. So, t varies from tau to infinity, and then we write the limits of integration for tau. So, tau varies from 0 to infinity. So, we change the order of integration here. First we have the limits of integration for t, t varies from tau to infinity, and then we have the limits of integration for tau, tau varies from 0 to infinity. Now, let us put t minus tau equal to u here. When we put t minus tau equal to u here, the limits of integration that is t varies from tau to infinity change to t varies from 0 to, when u varies from 0 to infinity, and we get the integrand as e to the power minus s tau plus u into f tau g u du d tau. The limits of integration for u are 0 infinity, for tau they are again 0 infinity, and here we can separate the variables tau and u. We can write e to power minus s tau plus u as e to power minus s tau into e to the power minus s u. So, let us group the terms which depend on tau and the terms which depend on u and separate the two integrals. We have the following. We have the last double integral may be equal to is then equal to the product of these two single integrals, integral 0 to infinity e to power minus s tau f tau d tau, and then integral 0 to infinity e to the power minus s u g u du. This integral is the Laplace transform of f t, and this integral is the Laplace transform of g t, and which is equal to f s into g s. Let us apply this convolution theorem to find the inverse Laplace transform of the function s square plus s over s square plus 1 into s square plus 2s plus 2. The inverse Laplace transform of this function of s may be regarded as product of two functions, s over s square plus 1, s over s square plus 1, and another one as s plus 1 over s square plus 2s plus 2. So, we can write the inverse Laplace transform of the given function as equal to L inverse of s plus 1 over s plus 1 whole square plus 1 into s over s square plus 1. So, one we will take as f s, another function of s we will take as g s, and then we will be writing L inverse of f s into g s equal to convolution of f and g by the convolution theorem. So, we have convolution of f and convolution of g. This is L inverse of s plus 1 over s plus 1 whole square plus 1 star L inverse of s over s square plus 1. This star denotes the convolution. So, this is f t and this is g t by convolution theorem. So, now inverse Laplace transform of s plus 1 over s plus 1 whole square plus 1 using the first shifting theorem which we had studied in the previous lecture on Laplace transformation gives us e to the power minus t into cos t. We know that inverse Laplace transform of s over s square plus 1 is cos t, and when you multiply e to the power minus t to cos t, then its Laplace transform gives s plus 1 over s plus 1 whole square plus 1. So, inverse Laplace transform of this function of s is e to the power minus t cos t, and inverse Laplace transform of s over s square plus 1 we know it is cos t. So, this is equal to integral 0 to infinity e to the power minus u cos u into cos t minus u du. Now, here we have two functions, one is f, another one is g, and we write it as integral 0 to t f u g t minus u du. So, which function is to be chosen as f u and which is to be chosen as g u depends on how conveniently we can evaluate this integral, because f star g is always equal to g star u. Convolution of f and g is same as convolution of g and f. So, we are free to choose any function out of these two as f and the other one as g, and this is further equal to half of integral 0 to t e to the power minus u cos t plus cos 2u minus t du, which is equal to, after integration we get 1 by 5 e to the power minus t sin t minus 3 cos t plus 1 by 5 sin t plus 3 cos t. Now, we shall be applying this convolution theorem to find a solution of an integral equation. Let us see what is an integral equation. An integral equation is an equation in which an unknown function occurs inside an integral. Thus, an integral equation may be written as by t equal to f t plus integral a to b by u into k u t du, where f t and k u t are known functions and y t is the unknown function. K u t is called the kernel function. Now, this if a and b are both constants, then the integral equation 2 is called as a Fredholm integral equation, and if a is a constant b and b equals the variable t, then the equation 2 is known as a Volterra integral equation. Now, a special integral equation of convolution type is when Volterra integral equation, where you take a equal to 0. So, by t is equal to f t plus integral 0 to t by u into k t minus u du. Here we take k t u as k t minus u and a as 0. So, it is a special kind of Volterra integral equation. We are going to find the Laplace transform, we are going to find the solution of an equation of this type. So, let us solve the differential integral equation by dash t equal to t plus integral 0 to t by t minus u into cos u du. So, here f t is equal to t, a is equal to 0, and instead of by t here we have by dash t. By t is the unknown function of t, which we are given the initial condition that at t equal to 0 by takes the value 4. So, let us take the Laplace transform of on both sides of this integral equation. L of by dash t is equal to s by var s minus by 0 is equal to 4. Laplace transform of t is 1 over s square, and then the Laplace transform of 0 to t by t minus u cos u du. If we take f u equal to cos u and g u as by t minus u, then we know by convolution theorem that Laplace transform of 0 to t by t minus u into cos u du is equal to Laplace transform of y t into Laplace transform of cos t. So, the right hand side of this equation becomes 1 by s square, Laplace transform of y t is by var s, and Laplace transform of cos t is s over s square plus 1. Now, we solve this equation for the value of by var s. It turns out that by var s is equal to s square plus 1 into 1 plus 4 s square over s to the power 5. When we bracket into its partial fractions, we get the partial fraction as 4 by s plus 5 by s cube plus 1 by s to the power 5. And now, we take the inverse Laplace transform of this equation. Inverse Laplace transform of by var s is by t, and then the right hand side, when we take the inverse Laplace transform, we get 4 plus 5 into t square by 2, and then t to the power 4 by 4 factorial. So, we get by t equal to 4 plus 5 by 2 t square plus 1 by 24 into t to the power 4. Now, in our lecture today, we have considered some of the properties of the Laplace transforms, like Laplace transform of derivatives and integrals, and then the differentiation and integration of Laplace transforms, and the convolution theorem. In my next lecture, we will be doing some more properties of the Laplace transforms, like the second shifting theorem, which refers to the shifting on the s axis. If you recall, the first shifting theorem refers to the shifting on the t axis, the second shifting theorem refers to the shifting on the s axis, and then in the theorem on shifting on the s axis, that is second shifting theorem, we shall be making use of a special function known as unit step function, which is also called as Heaviside's function, and we will be discussing Dirac delta function, which is also known as an impulse function. So, unit step functions and Dirac delta functions have very special importance in the study of problems that occur in mechanical and electrical engineering. So, we will be looking at some of the applications of those functions in the problems of electrical and mechanical engineering, and we will also be considering the Laplace transform of a periodic functions. So, all this we will be covering in our next lecture. Thank you.